So, students, today we're going to talk about something pretty cool. Diseases. What are some diseases you guys have heard of before? Maybe cancer? Diabetes? Well, what about the flu? Or a cold? Do you know what the difference is between a disease and a disorder? Or the difference between a disease and a simple sickness? Well, guess what? Today, we're going to find out. The definition of a disease is simple. Disease is a medical condition or an abnormality that does not allow the body to function normally. There are, however, two different types of diseases. Please write down that a disease is a medical condition or abnormality that does not allow the body to function normally. Now, the first type of a disease is a communicable disease, or one that can be spread from organism to organism or person to person. An example of this would be cholera, the disease that we read about in one of our lit articles last week. It can spread really quickly, as we talked about. It can many times cause death in people who have it. This was a disease that we read about that really affected Haiti. The common flu is even a communicable disease. While we may think of diseases as things that are very, very hard to cure, sometimes they actually can be very simple. Now, the second type of disease is a non-communicable disease. These are diseases that cannot be spread from organism to organism or person to person. This means they are not contagious at all. A great example of a non-communicable disease is cancer. It is impossible to catch cancer from someone. No matter how much contact you have with that person, they simply cannot pass their cancer on to you. No matter how much you might drink after them, or eat after them, or kiss them, or how much they might sneeze on you, they simply cannot just give you their cancer. Please write down that a communicable disease is one that can be spread from one organism to another, and then write down that a non-communicable disease is one that cannot be spread from one organism to another organism. Now, just as there are two types of diseases, there are also two things that generally cause diseases to occur. The first of these things is bacteria. Bacteria is a living organism that can reproduce all on its own. Remember when we talked about single-cell organisms versus multicellular organisms, like humans and animals, last week? Well, many types of bacteria can actually just be individual cells. Just one little tiny cell instead of billions and billions of cells. It is important to remember, however, that not all bacteria cause disease. Some certainly do, but many perform functions in the world and the human body that are actually very positive and very necessary to the existence of life. Aside from bacteria, viruses are the other things that typically cause disease. While bacteria are living beings, meaning they're made of cells, viruses do not use or collect energy, cannot reproduce on their own, and they are not made of cells. Any of those things sound familiar? They're three of our characteristics of life. Since viruses do not have those three characteristics, they simply cannot be alive. While they are not always extremely severe, they do always cause disease when present in an organism. Please write down that viruses are not living and that they always cause disease when present in an organism.